For this creative quarantine, we'll be mixing salt and scrape paint techniques. So start off by drawing the background silhouette that will be in your sky. You can do a moon, a sun, clouds. And we're working on watercolor paper with watercolors for this portion. And I'm going to start off by preparing my different colors in the paint palette. So I'm doing a black, a red, a purple, and a blue, and I'm mixing it up so that my paint is fairly liquid, so high water content. I want it nice and runny. And now within an oval here, I'm going to blotch the paint in everywhere except for the moon. And you want to work pretty fast because you want to make sure that the paint doesn't have time to dry. I almost have a puddle here on the sheet. I want it nice and liquid. And now I'm going to sprinkle on some salt. The salt is going to absorb the excess liquid. And I'm sprinkling it on pretty thick. While it dries, it's going to make a nice textured pattern on the background. Here you can see all the salt that I've added, and make sure that you wait until it dries completely before passing on to the next step. So here, now that it's dry, I'm brushing off the excess. You'll probably need to rub the paint down a little bit with your hand to get off those last few grains of salt and brush the page clean. And so here you can see the texture. So now that our background is all dry and I've removed all of the salt, we're just left with kind of the mineral pattern left on the background. And now I'm ready to paint in the mountains. So for these particular mountains, I was really inspired by the local Hajar mountains. I just love the color mix, and then also the way that you can really see all of the different layers of earth. So for that, I'm going to be using kind of like a scraping technique. So to set up, it can get a little bit messy, so be sure to put down some newspaper. And I have attached the sheet of paper to the newspaper with some washi tape. You could use masking tape or painter's tape, anything that won't rip the paper when you remove it, so that you can get a nice clean edge. So moving on to the next step, I am putting the masking tape on. Make sure that you have it on nice and straight because these borders are going to be visible at the end. It's where the paint is going to stop. And here I'm starting off by drawing the silhouette of my mountain, and I'm going to be working with acrylic paint. You could also use gouache, and a knife palette. You could use a plastic knife and a thick business card. So here on my palette, you can't really see the difference in colors yet, but I have black, blue, purple, and a bit of brown, and that will be visible a bit later. And now I'm going to take my business card and I'm going to kind of scrape the colors along together, and with a firm hand, I'm scraping the paint off. So now you can see all of those different colors appear. And I'm kind of wiggling the card as I go along to create different types of lines. Now, try not to go over the same area more than maybe twice. Each time you go over, it kind of mixes the colors more together, and then you can't see as much the lines that are so characteristic of the Hajar Mountains. Now, when the paint has dried a little bit, gently remove the masking tape so you'll get nice clean edges. And now I'm going to fill in the moon to get a nice clean line. I'm just using white that has a tiny bit of gray in it. And I'm going to clean up these little stains here. And so that it doesn't look like a mistake, I'm going to add a few extra blotches on the sides. And this way we'll get a nice even background. And that's it. I'm super excited to see your artwork. Post it on Instagram with the tag Creative Quarantine Dubai and tag me Glitches and Stitches so I can have a look.